Welcome back to Keeping Tabs. I'm Tabitha Crock. Make sure that you check us out on YouTube, Spotify, or iTunes to keep up to date on all the interviews coming your way. I also would like to thank our sponsor, 32 Below, Froyo and More. They are officially open here in Coeur d'Alene, frozen yogurt, adult floats, beer, wine, paninis. So make sure you go check them out, follow them on social media, keep up to date on everything happening. All right, so now enjoy that episode. Good morning. I have Ashley Mathews. So one of my most favorite people in the entire world. I know I say this about a lot of people, but really this woman is incredible. She is the sister of one of my best friends in college. And so I've known her family, since 2004, and probably one of the most incredible family to be around. Ashley is a ball of energy, and she has had a career in anything from fashion to now healthcare. So first, thank you so much for joining me. And yes, I know.
Thanks for having me, Tabs.
This is what I needed. I needed your energy. Tell us a little bit about you and what you're doing, and maybe a little of your background, where you came from to what you're doing now.
Okay, yes. So I got a fashion degree at WSU. It's apparels, merchandising, design, and textiles. And I started out in a lot of retail management, and I kept thinking, like, gosh, I don't love the holiday hours. I don't love these early morning visual merchandising hours where I'm in the store at 5 a.m. Switched gears, got married, had children. So I was a stay-at-home mom for a couple of years, and then went through a divorce and decided I'm now living in a really expensive city, and I have to figure out how I'm going to pay for two little boys, because we'd moved from the Tri-Cities to Portland, got divorced where I had nobody, no family, no friends. I knew no one. And Calvin was 8 months old and Pierce was 2 years old. And it was very clear that my ex-husband wasn't dying to help keep me afloat for very long. So I knew I was going to have to figure it out really fast. And so this is crazy. And this for some of your listeners, they're going to be like, this is super woo-woo. Who's this cuckoo girl? But I actually was doing tons of research. Like, what's my next step? I love fashion. I started a business where I was consulting, and I was doing well, but not well enough to be able to afford living in Portland. So I reached out to this clairvoyant who has given me some awesome advice in the past. And I said, can you just give me some direction? Because I love so many things. Like I could go work in music. I could go back to the fashion space. There's all these artsy things I could be really good at, but I need some direction, and I need to know how I'm going to provide for my family. And she immediately said, this is super weird, because I'm picking up like you're really fashion-y. And I hadn't told her any of my background. I'm picking up that you're like really good in the art space and you're good at fashion, but you're actually not going to be doing anything like that. I see you whining and dining doctors, and I see you in the medical space, and I see you as one of the best. And I'm like, oh, she's got some sweet visions. Okay, let's do this. And literally like 2 days later, my girlfriend who worked for Siemens calls me, and she's like, Ashley, I have one of the toughest gigs available. Like you would never recommend this to anybody you care about, but she's like, you will change this space. You will absolutely walk in and change it. And I don't really think there's a lot of women that can do this. And she's like, it's to sell mammography, and Siemens hasn't really ever done that before. I'm like, oh, my passion is to help women. This is a whole nother level. This is like saving lives. And I'm like, I could do this. I can definitely do this. And then I was scratching my head like, well, how am I going to do this? I don't have an ounce of experience in the medical space. Like I can keep up with the jargon. Like I'll follow you. You talk doctor talk, and I'll go learn it. And so she said, I'll get you connected with the hiring manager, and then you take it from here. There's nothing else I can do. You just have to blow his socks off. So I'm looking at my background. I'm like, okay, visual merchandiser at Macy's. Like, check. Like, those are none of the things they're going to look at. And they had, and I had like processing loans at Washington Mutual. You know, I was a barista at Starbucks, and I'm like, I'm like, hey, I worked very hard in all of those roles. I was a total go-getter. I went to the top. I totally excelled. So like I got awards in each of those jobs. So I seriously did this PowerPoint of why I was the perfect fit to sell mammography for Siemens. And I had a little backstory that the previous sales reps had never sold for Siemens and that they'd been in the positions for years. So I fly to Denver, I sit down in front of Charles, and I'm like, Charles, what you guys have been doing hasn't worked. So pretty much you need a girl who's done fashion, who cares about women, who's a sharp tack. I'll pick up whatever you put down, and I promise you, you won't be putting your neck out there. I will sell for you, and I'll be really good. And he's like, oh my gosh, everybody back at the office is going to call me crazy for hiring the fashion designer. And I'm like, let them call you crazy. You can call them crazy back after I start selling systems. And he's like, you know, I got to think about this. And here I am in this suit that I can't afford. I bought this suit to look really professional, ready to blow his socks off. And I'm like, I'm not flying back to Portland without getting this job. I will not get on this plane until he has said, yes, you got the job. So he says, I got to talk to the ladies back at the office. And this is a little bit manipulative of me, but I said, oh, are you not able to make the decision? And he's like, oh, I could totally make this decision. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to get back on the plane without having an answer here. So, and he's laughing. He's like, this girl knows how to close already. She's not even been in sales and she can close. So he's like, can you start on Monday? And so I had this job. I couldn't believe it. I was on the high flying back and I'm like, did I really just get the job? I had like pit rings all the way down to my waistline.
Can't return that suit.
Nope, it's mine forever. I have to wear it in every presentation now. That's my good luck suit. It was a little tight in the pants, but I was like, this is perfect. It's going to be perfect.
That is the best.
You know, that's like mom grit. That's single mom grit because it was like, I know my path now, stay out of my way. Like, don't get in my way when I have the eye on the prize. So that's how I got into the role, and then absolutely fell in love with it. Like initially it was like, this is a job that's going to help feed us. And then it turned into, oh my gosh, I love this job. Oh, wow. This is not a job. This is like my life. This is a career. I see a really awesome future now. So it's cool how it all played out. And here I am like 3 years later, still loving it and doing really well.
And you have, is it your tips on Tuesdays? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a Ask Ashley, hashtag Ask Ashley on LinkedIn. So I love that you remember that. Siemens marketing is a little funny. It's German. It's a German-based business, and so it globally comes out of Germany. Well, they don't. They're not used to like the social media, the fast pace, like Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere that you can go. And I'm like, okay, I'm that age where I can kind of connect the generations that don't do the social media and then the mammotechs that do. That's all they know. So I can bring both worlds together. I'm not saying I'm the strongest in social media, but I can help bring those worlds together, and I can help educate the younger mammotechs and educate the older ones and keep everybody engaged. So that was my plan, and I'm like, I'm just going to do this.
It's awesome. I love it. I love it. So
thank you.
Tell us, what are you selling? What is this that's helping these women? Tell us more about your product.
Yeah, for sure. So I sell mammography, and it's called the Revelation, and it's the wide angle. So Siemens has the widest angle on the market, and the whole purpose of that. So why are women still dying of breast cancer? We're clearly still missing something. It's awesome that we have technology out there, but do we have technology strong enough to find these tumors, to find these cysts, to find these microcalcs that are quickly killing women still? So Siemens came out, so we are global leaders in the CT technology. So we're able to capture this wider angle. So we incorporated CT technology into mammography, so we can see through the breast tissue now, which is so awesome. This wider angle allows us to see these slices much clearer. You get so much more information in your tomo slices. So women with dense breasts have a way higher chance of having cancer go undetected. Over 50% of the population has dense breasts. So that's super discouraging. What are we going to do about that? Well, we're going to bring the best technology. We're going to put them into your facilities, and we're going to give you that chance to involve earlier intervention. We're going to find that breast cancer at 1 millimeter versus 3 millimeter where it might be too late. So when I started doing these image reviews with these radiologists and seeing their response after, like, wow, that's when I knew. Because in sales, your managers can sell to you all day long. Oh yeah, you have the best technology. Get out there, Ash. Go blow their socks off. But until you see a radiologist where that's what they do every single day, when you see them go, holy cow, this is incredible, then you know. And then you're like, hey, I'm so on the right path. This is awesome.
You're actually saving lives now.
Yeah, I'm actually saving lives. And because Siemens was so late to the market, I felt like with my natural leadership skills, like, I gotta get out there. Like, I just can't wait to go show the whole world. And I didn't want to step on toes of what the corporation expects in their marketing. And so I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna just share with the world what I'm loving right now. And I'm loving that I'm on my mammo track. This is my job. We're running around the West Coast and we're educating. That I can't get in trouble for, because this is something I'm grateful for. This is something I love, and I'm helping women. Wow. And men, for that matter. Over 2,000 men get breast cancer a year. What? Die from breast cancer.
Oh my goodness.
So more than 2,000 are getting it. 2,000 are dying from it.
Wow, I had no clue how high of a number.
I know.
And so officially this is going to, as this airs and people are listening, it is October, which is official, I think, Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes.
So anybody listening, what are some advice for some, I know I read something you had just posted about 40 years old. That's young. For years, I think you said.
Yes. And so the alarming part to me is actually some insurances will tell patients to go every other year. That is so unacceptable. Once you turn 40, if your mammogram is good, you still go every year. If there's something suspicious or they're watching it, you definitely go every year, sometimes every 6 months. You follow your doctor's orders at that point. But every single year you have to go. You have to. When it's so easy now, when breast cancer is so hard to hide, you have to do it. You have no excuses at this point. Like, I know it's scary. It is so scary. Even me working in this industry and seeing it every day and seeing the images and talking to women, you got to do it. I'm still sweating when I go in to get mine done. I'm still like, oh my gosh, having lost my mom to brain cancer at 46, you're like, hey, it's a couple years away. I mean, we know young women. We know women that have had breast cancer. I have a high school friend that's fighting for her life right now. Like, it's a no-brainer. You have to do it every year. And the breast reading environment has drastically changed. Drastically. I mean, it was just 10 years ago that we were still only a 2D image, a true X-ray. 2D. You can't see much in a 2D. Now we have Tomo, and Tomo gives us our breasts in 1 millimeter slices. So you are getting to see every little bit of tissue. There should be no reason you're not getting your exam, because we can fight breast cancer now. And the earlier we get in front of it, the better.
Oh yeah, I had a friend that just got everything removed, and she got, implants after that. But she's, I think, 39, 38.
Yes.
So early that she didn't have to have chemo. She didn't have to do anything.
Awesome. Awesome. That's the story I want. If I have breast cancer, that's the story I want. I at least want the option.
Mhm.
And so, okay, so let's talk about that. She's 39. If she followed my advice to wait till 40, that's not good. So if it's in your family, I take it she has it in her family, get in there earlier. Have your baseline be 35, or if something doesn't feel right, or if there's a palpable lump, freaking get in there. I can't emphasize that enough. And
That's
I'll have girlfriends that are like, Ashley, I'm so scared. I can feel this little lump. I'm like, I will hold your hand. I will walk in. I will get the dose myself. I will get radiated to get you in there. Like, stop it. Stop being scared. Let's stop being worried until we have news to worry about.
exactly. And then you can make it, and if it's caught so early, like you are in your, late 30s, and you're like, I have it in my family, or I feel something, or I just go in there, and they're like, oh, we caught it so early that you don't even have to go through all the treatments. You just
Yeah.
do it, or like do whatever.
Lucky you. You get a lumpectomy and you get to waltz back home and help your kid with distance learning.
A little, I felt something.
I mean, I might have taken that one too far, but you're just had to throw out one of my current pains right now. A little bit of anxiety, but like, for real, like, you get to go home and still have a normal life. You had minor surgery and nothing else following. So that's what technology is doing for us today. We now have Tomo, and we now have AI, and AI is a whole nother game. Like, it's even able to predict by looking at a breast and the way it's watched the tissue change in the last 2 years. It can now go, whoa, you have a 60% likelihood that you're going to show up with breast cancer by the time you're 46 or whatever, which is so awesome. Now we have that information before us. Definitely don't be skipping your breast exams, but it's helpful for the radiologist, and the AI actually will help point out suspicious. I don't know if you saw the video, the funny TikTok, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious. I did that video.
Horror TikToks may be one of my favorites. I look forward to them.
Yeah. But on there, it does these markings, it does these case scorings that will actually share the likelihood of it being suspicious or malignant. And you'll get, like, if it spots this tiny lesion, it'll say like 86%. Well, as a radiologist, I want to dial in on that. I want to be like, what am I looking at here? And bring her back in for ultrasound or whatever the next step is. But AI is taking it to a whole nother level, which is amazing. Like, I feel so grateful to be a woman today with our screenings. It's just awesome.
Really amazing. Yeah, and I follow all the stuff you guys are doing. Or listening, go follow her, at least on LinkedIn or TikTok.
TikTok, you'll see some of my really good workouts.
What I look forward to.
Yeah, I think LinkedIn is going to be the best place to follow me on the breast cancer stuff, on the technology of Siemens, the wide angle technology, for sure.
She's showing, she's sharing all of this stuff so that you can, you're showing the x-rays of some of these breasts. It's really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's ask a couple fun questions. Because you're not fun at all. So what is your, besides saving women and being a mom and loving life, what are some of your hobbies?
Oh, wow. Okay, so I love taking naps. So you know this about Haley. She was such a napper. I've always told Kurt, I'm like, is that a Swedish trait? That's one of the things I need to research. Do Swedes take naps? Do they need more sleep? Maybe, but I think that I have a really busy brain. Well, I know I do. And so daytime I'll be like, I'm just gonna go slip into my bedroom for like an hour nap, and then I come back $1,000,000 bucks. But naps are awesome. Kurt and I, it's a necessity. We have to get a workout in, even if it's 20 minutes, it's a workout. We jumped on the treadmill. So we'll do these HIIT trainings in the garage together, and it makes it fun because we have a partner and we can hold each other accountable. We'll do those like 3 or 4 a week. Outdoor time with the boys right now seems to be the most important because, I mean, this COVID stuff, their social lives, it's just crushing. Like we can do these fun FaceTimies. Kids don't do that stuff. When they're FaceTiming, they're like making faces with their cousins and they're not talking. They're not engaging like, hey, how's your summer going? So we're getting the kids outside. We're playing soccer. We're on our bikes. We go on snake and frog adventures all the time.
A boy, Mom. Such a boy.
Totally, which is hilarious because I'm so girly, but I was also such a tomboy growing up. Like I have all these different identities that I feel like I might be a little bit crazy. Like, oh, let me show you how to do the best makeup ever. Here's a snake, guys. Like so weird. I caught 2 snakes this week and here's all these frogs, but the kids love it. And I'm like, if my kids grow up just thinking mom is the greatest, then I win. I totally win. And I'll do so much for my boys right now. I carry so much guilt that they come from a divorced household that I'm like, you know what? I'm going to step it up even more. I'm one of those people that has that extra energy. So my kids are going to have incredible memories with mom.
Yeah, that could be a whole nother podcast. I mean, I
right.
can't divorce parents, and so I get it. It's a lot. I mean, I can't imagine, but you're killing it. So
thanks.
You have a partner. So I mean,
yes.
He's like fantastic to boys. So that's good.
Oh my gosh. You would think he's their dad. He loves them so much. I don't know how I scored, but I'm going to just hang on to him. I'm actually going to like handcuff him to me. He can never leave. I'm like, going to smother him to death.
Hard again, Ash.
Yeah, no, Kurt's awesome. That's a whole nother podcast right there.
Oh yeah, I actually want to get I need to come to Portland, have drinks because I want.
Can you please?
All the things.
Yes, we would love that.
So, favorite go-to food meal that you pick?
Okay, so Mexican food is always a hit. And you have to get a margarita if you're going to do Mexican food, always. But I have this ridiculous allergy. I cannot do gluten anymore. After I had Pierce, I came down with like horrible gluten sensitivities. So stinky. It's the worst. So Thai food actually does a phenomenal job keeping gluten out of it. I mean, for the most part. And so on the menu, I can essentially order anything I want and be free of that. Calvin can't do dairy. So
I get it. I'm a dairy person too. I cannot. It's not.
I know. And I can't do milk. I'll do cheese all day long and get a little stomach ache, but I won't do milk. I won't do ice cream. Yeah. So Thai food is bomb because it's like coconut milk and then there's no gluten. And there's a restaurant here in town called Thai Bloom. I order from them all the time. I am keeping them going through COVID. We're keeping them alive.
All right. So, what is one piece of advice you would give a younger you?
Oh, gosh. Woo, that's a good question. And that is, so I would have told my younger me to have a stronger voice. Like, don't be so focused on being a people pleaser. Like, that's really cute and really sweet, but I'm also not 12 anymore. If I had learned to be my voice, I wouldn't have let so many people take advantage of me or feel stepped on or not feel heard. And it's not that like a ton of people took advantage of me and I had this like really crappy life. There are memories that I have that are painful from not just speaking up. And it's not that hard to speak up. You learn it when you're older, but for some reason, like, was I sheltered? Did I live in a bubble? Yes and yes. So I wish that I learned how to be more of a direct communicator. But I also would have been like, I would have had really sweet words for my younger self. And it would have been something like, you are enough. You are all that you need to be. You are plenty in a bag of chips. Like, you're awesome. And just keep growing and keep developing. Because we get in our head and we don't think we're that great, or we didn't make our dad happy enough, or whatever.
We all deal with that. Well, along with those lines, you are amazing, and I
Thank
go
you.
on about you. But what is this? What is the best compliment you have ever received?
Gosh. Well, I won Best Bud in high school. No, just kidding. No, I would say, I mean, I don't know if it's like one specific compliment, but it's more my attitude. Like, you're just so cheery and so sunshiny. Like, I remember my regional vice president jumped on a call with me, and I'm like, "Hey, Dan, how's it going?" He's like, "Ash, can I just say I am so happy that I am ending my day with you. Like, you're exactly what I needed." And so I'll get stuff like that. Or people will call me and be like, "Ash, I just need a dose of Ash. Can I just tell you how I'm feeling?" And I'm like kind of their little cheerleader. So I think it's because I turn that frown upside down. I try to. And I try to be really happy, but it's perspective. It's what you go through in life, and you recognize, like, this isn't the end of the world. We'll be okay.
So, what's a life lesson that you have learned the hard way?
Mm, mm. Not being my voice for me. I would not have gone to mediation in my divorce. I would have gone to my own attorney and fought for my rights. I did it backwards, and like, oh, I'm going to come across easygoing, and I'm going to listen to what the attorney says, and I'm going to make life easy for Ryan too. And I didn't necessarily sign up what was best for myself and the kids. And so I've had some painful experiences for not doing that.
That's perfect. I think that's advice. Anyone listening, we all have gone through or will go through or something along those lines that is taking the right steps for you and your family.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you had a billboard, any billboard, it's in Portland, downtown Portland, and it could say anything you wanted to say on it, what would it say or have on it?
Oh gosh. So I feel so sorry for your listeners that have to see my face.
Oh, they're gonna love it.
So there's two phrases that came to mind immediately, and they're heavily competing against each other. But there's one phrase that I always use, and I say, "Get it." Like with my AEs, and they're like, "Ashley, I'm chasing down this deal, and I think I can bring Mammo in." I'm like, "Get it. You get it." And then I'll tell Kurt all the time. He'll call me and be like, "Babe, I'm heading to the grocery store, and I'm going to, pick up these things." I'm like, "Get it. Just go get it." I'm like so excited for the silly things. But I would also do own it, because I'm a huge believer in people owning things. I'm dealing with my 9-year-old right now, who kind of seems to fall into like victimhood, where he's a victim, and I think it's a normal kid thing, but I also really hate how that presents itself in an adult. So I'm like, nope, 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 nope. You sound like a victim right now. We're gonna just own it, and here's how we're gonna own it. You may not have had 100% of the responsibility here, but you're gonna recognize what you could have done better, and you're gonna take control. And so owning it, to me, helps you just focus on where you could have been better, because we all know where we could have been better. And then we're not a victim. Like, I could have managed this by A, B, C, D. So own it big is powerful to me. It's empowering.
Yeah, you're such a cool mom.
Oh, thanks. I try. I think sometimes I sound like I'm beating a dead horse, and I would complain about my parents doing that, and I do the same thing now.
You have 2 boys too, so that's
Yeah. Oh, I know. Crazy town. You have 2 little busy boys who cannot listen. Listening is very hard. And by the time I'm yelling, it's because it's been a really sweet message like 5 times, and it's at this level. And I'm like, "Pierce, just do it. Mom, why are you yelling?" Like, because I've asked you like 10 times nicely, and you're not hearing it, so yelling's gonna do it.
Oh, so we're going through a pandemic. It is crazy. We got COVID. We got elections. We've got, I mean, anything. The world on fire. Especially you in Portland. You witnessed all those awful fires.
Oh
What
yeah.
something positive? People listening, something positive you can leave everybody with today.
Mm. So, gosh. So I'm like I think that I write inspirational quotes. I think that that's like my another job of mine. So I have a chalkboard downstairs and I write because I remember a girlfriend telling me, Ash, you're always that nauseating cherry on top. And I adore her. And I remember thinking, that really hurts. That totally sucks. And she was like, you can be sad, you know that. Like you're allowed to have other feelings. And I've thought about that for years. It comes back to me all the time. And I do know this. I've learned how to process really sad feelings. So, and I have little boys that may not be a cherry on top all the time. So I put on the chalkboard downstairs. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to process heavy stuff, but don't forget to show the world your sunshiny, sparkly self because that's how I think of Haley. I think everybody needs to have a little sunshiny, sparkly self. We all do. We all do in some way. And the kids were writing turd all over the chalkboard. I'm like, be strong, love mom. And they're like, be strong, turd, love mom, turd. I like all this ridiculous stuff. So I erased it. I was like, okay, well, my household doesn't need all this inspirational stuff. The next day, my son, Pierce, rewrote the quote. He had it memorized at this point. And I see in this cute little boy handwriting, it's okay to process hard, sad stuff, but don't forget to show the world your sunshiny, sparkly self. Kurt and I were like drinking our coffee. I'm nearly spitting it out. I can't believe what I'm seeing. So what I would say to the world is the sun always comes out. The sun always comes back out. And don't forget that. So, and when I look back on stuff in retrospect, what I thought was crazy hard was not that hard after it all. Like it in the moment, it feels scary and it feels hard and it feels awful and it's okay. Validate all that, but you will be okay. You are stronger than the storm. So I love how I'm comparing feelings to like weather conditions, but it's true. Like the sun will come back out and you are stronger than this storm. We are all stronger than the current storm.
Mm.
So and all this COVID stuff and the divided country, it's sad, but we're resilient and we will come through. People are really amazing and we will find a way to connect again and we all have common grounds.
And
we just need to remember that.
Exactly. And it's just crazy right now. And there are so many good people and we forget how
know
there are out there.
Yes.
So,
what would your message to the world be right now?
Pop some bottles or something? I don't
I know, I love it. Can we have your face on there too?
Oh, I love it. So, is there any way that myself or anyone that's listening can support you right now? Or what can we do to support Ashley?
Oh, yes. So what I ask you guys is to share to every female in your circle that she needs to get a mammogram and hold her to it and ask her, be that nagging, annoying friend that's like, did you get your mammogram this year? When did you get it? When do you go? Start a mammogram party where you all schedule together, you go into the same facility and bring a bottle of wine. Have a glass of wine while you're waiting in the room. Some facilities support that, like mammogram parties. But my biggest ask is that you are making sure you understand that your facility has the right technology, because not all mammograms are treated the same. Certainly don't be going into a facility that's 2D only, and look for facilities that have the Siemens technology. That is the widest angle on the market. That's going to give you the fighting chance.
That's perfect.
Thank you
so much. This was a blast. I'm glad that I had this. You just brightened my day. You were my little sunshine.
Yay! Right back at you.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Yes. Thanks, Tabs.
Thanks for listening to Keeping Tabs. I'm Tabitha Crock, and every Monday I release a podcast about different community members here in North Idaho. And then we end the weeks on Fridays with a podcast about the things I'm passionate about: outdoors, adventures, sports, the van life, and even current events. So if you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube, Spotify, or iTunes. Thank you again. Now go be kind and do something great.